Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in once again and hope you're having a great day wherever you may be. Before I get started today, please take a quick moment to hit the like button. It's a free and easy way to support the channel and to help me get the content out there into YouTube land. Now, in today's video, I want to talk about why Bitcoin is sovereign money. Bitcoin represents sovereign or freedom money when you do it right. And the operative words being when you do it right. And so I want to spend a little time here today just talking about self-custody, why it's so important, and if you're not already learning about that, why you should begin spending some time doing that. And the reason why I want to have this discussion with you, and please feel free to leave any comments as we're going along here. I'd love to hear what is on your mind when it comes to this, because I know many of you are already well down the path when it comes to being a Bitcoiner. So I'd love to hear your thoughts as we're going along. But I meet with people every single week. I do one-on-one Zoom calls. People book a coaching call or a consultation strategy session with me. And I had a great session with one of my subscribers last night, in fact. And I often find that the first half of the call is about, the best places to onboard into Bitcoin. In Australia, some people are wanting to set up SMSFs because they want to diversify their retirement accounts and be able to buy Bitcoin in them. Some people are complete newbies, and some are already on their path but just want to kind of level up where they're at in terms of their setup and their custody solutions, etc. But I often find that most people are really good at making the first decision, and that is to become a Bitcoiner. That is that they know that Bitcoin is a really powerful wealth acceleration tool. Many know that it's the best performing asset by a long, long way over the past decade. They know that their superannuation or their general share or stock account is only doing 7 or 8%, and that's not enough. It's not keeping up with inflation. All of these things, they know their savings are being eroded through currency debasement. So people get the problem. And so becoming a Bitcoiner, I'm finding, is becoming less and less challenging, certainly in terms of the people that I talk to. But the next step, which is equally important, most people fall well short, and that is mastering self-custody. Now, mastering self-custody is not something that happens overnight. Even myself, having been in this space for some 7, nearly going on 8 years now, I still haven't fully mastered this aspect. I'm still spending time leveling up, getting my own coaching around this, because I really believe that if you're going to be your own bank, if you're going to be the head of security in your own financial life, that's a really important thing. That's something that's critical that you get right. And most people are simply not spending enough time on this. And maybe it's because they don't or haven't invested enough into Bitcoin for it to be worth their time to really spend some time on self-custody. But then, of course, it goes around in circles, because then we come back to the question, well, if you think it's worthwhile buying $3,000 or $4,000 worth of Bitcoin, what have you missed? Because most people will realize when they do a decent amount of study, say 10 hours plus, that they need to be allocating a reasonable amount of their liquid net worth into Bitcoin, in my opinion. Now, of course, I'm not a financial advisor. Unfortunately, financial advisors can't advise on Bitcoin because it's not part of their approved products list, certainly in this country at the moment, in Australia, which means that they can't get professional indemnity for anything that they put you into, and so they don't recommend it. In fact, they won't even talk about it, but I believe that that is going to change now that BlackRock, who essentially oversees the financial planning industry, a large part of the world, I think this is all going to change in the near future. But even that aside, becoming self-sovereign is not going to be achieved by buying Bitcoin through the ETFs or through your financial planner, even when that becomes available. That will give you exposure to number go up, but it won't allow you to be completely financially autonomous. And again, this is not important to everybody, Maybe it's not important to you, maybe it is. I'd love to know your thoughts below. But being financially autonomous in this changing geopolitical and uncertain global economic landscape that we're in, for me, it's really important. And so, we have to understand that when you acquire Bitcoin, you're only really benefiting from one of the features of Bitcoin, and that is the wealth acceleration component. You're not benefiting from the self-sovereignty and the wealth protection component. And there's a reason why Bitcoin fortuitously was released to the world on the back of the global financial crisis. It didn't happen by accident. It actually was several years in the making. An anonymous pseudonym, Satoshi Nakamoto, released it to the world and then disappeared. Some say that he or she or they, whoever it is, has passed on. I don't know whether that's true or not, but the reality is that Bitcoin has evolved now to the point where everybody knows, who's done any form of study on it, that it's not going away, even to the point now where institutions are pouring billions of dollars into it. The US government has now indicated that they wish to acquire 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years. We know that El Salvador was the first country on earth to institute Bitcoin as legal tender back in 2022. Completely transformed that country, cleaned up all the crime, went from the world's largest homicide rate per capita to the lowest in the world. Completely cleaned up the place, got rid of their debt with the IMF, etc., etc. And so we know Bitcoin is here to stay. And when we're in this environment where we know that Bitcoin is here to stay, we know that we are very early on the adoption curve, I believe that you really need to be doing all that you can to really take charge of whatever Satoshis or Bitcoin that you own. And like I said, it's an evolving process. It's a simple skill or set of steps that you need to get comfortable with. Much like riding a bike for the first time or driving a car, it's a little bit daunting at first, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature. It's kind of like sending an email for the first time. I'm sure you'll remember it was a little bit freaky at first, but then it became just a normal thing to do. Or the first time you got an Uber ride. I remember I was in LA, got an Uber ride for the first time, and I thought, this is really bizarre. My wife and I are about to jump in some stranger's car in another city. But once I got used to the idea of it, I thought, wow, how good is this? And so that's the same with Bitcoin. Once you get used to the idea of being the head of security for your own financial life, for being your own bank, and taking some time to learn a few simple steps and getting guided in the right way with that, you become extremely empowered financially. And I'm a great believer that if they're going to roll out increasing centralized control and they want to bring in central bank digital currencies, we already know that Europe is planning on bringing out their CBDCs in October this year. The globalists want this. They want surveillance money. They want to be able to reach into your bank account at any time and take whatever it is that they see fit. They want to be able to control what you spend, when you spend it, to tie it to your credit score, to your carbon credits, to your social credit score. That's the way they see the future running. And so, when there's so much debt in the system and people are struggling to pay their bills and keep up with, small businesses in this country are struggling to keep up with all of their superannuation and tax debts and all of those kinds of things, it's because it's really, really tough to run a business now. And so the powers that be want to centralize more and more the control of this, so that as a small business, as a citizen, whatever, you don't get any say as to when you pay your obligations. They're able to basically reach into your account and grab them whenever they see fit. And so this is the world we're moving into. And as the world becomes more and more centralized, I believe that you and I should be thinking in a more decentralized fashion in terms of how we structure our lives, not just financially, but also in terms of our personal development, the type of media and information that we take in. We should be not listening to the central control system media, but more the decentralized media. That's where we should be getting our information. And also taking charge of our health in a very decentralized way as well, because we know that the system is very good at managing symptoms, but not doing very, very good for us in terms of taking care of our health and longevity over the long term. And so that is all about personal responsibility. And for me, this is why I was so attracted to Bitcoin, when I understood that it represented not just number go up, but also the opportunity to become self-sovereign financially. I really haven't stopped diving down that rabbit hole and learning and being coached and you know, having consultations and all of that to really optimize my aspect of my life in this regard. So really my point today is that if your Bitcoin is still on an exchange or in a you know, with a brokerage, even though some brokerages offer cold storage solutions, you have to keep remembering that not your keys, not your coins. If you don't control the keys to your safe, to the vault, if they're in the hands of somebody else, even though everything could be cool, medium term, even long term, you may never have a problem. I don't believe that, well, two things. Firstly, I don't believe it's worth the risk, particularly if you've got something meaningful in Bitcoin. And secondly, it's not what Bitcoin is truly designed for. Bitcoin gives you the opportunity to be self-sovereign, and if you're only doing it for number go up technology, then you're missing the whole point of why you should be in Bitcoin in the first place. And so learn about self-custody. There are some great solutions out there. I always recommend that you look into air-gapped wallets, Bitcoin-only wallets, open source, so that the code is fully verifiable. Those are the three main points I'd be focused on when considering a hardware cold storage device. There are a handful of really good products out there on the market, and I'd be doing some research in that area, and I'd be learning as quickly as I can about that, and getting yourself into a situation where you have self-custody of your Bitcoin. We know that over time, the value of Satoshis, Bitcoin, is going to be very, very significant. As they continue to print more money and debase the currency, the value of your stack is going to become more and more and more as time goes on. As the adoption and waves of capital come into Bitcoin, the value of your stack is going to become more and more over time, because Bitcoin is fixed and finite. And so secure it, treat it with care, treat it like you are the head of security of your own financial life. Take the steps, and then you'll be on the path to self-sovereignty. So I'm going to leave it there today. Really my point is just to hammer home why it's so important to take self-custody of your Bitcoin, not your keys, not your coins. Don't just do step one, start learning about step two. If you need to book a one-on-one call with me, you'll see a link down below in the show notes. Like I said, I have sessions available every single week. You can book directly in my calendar online, and I can guide you if you need help. Other than that, thank you for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts about self-custody, about self-sovereignty. What does Bitcoin represent for you in terms of freedom money? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Other than that, please like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching. This is Zane signing out. Bye for now.